On June 4, 2024, in Riegelwood, North Carolina, Bolivia, Monique Williams was looking forward to welcoming her sixth child. At 33 years old and 25 weeks pregnant, she had recently celebrated a gender reveal with family and friends. Her life centered around her 5 children with support from her mother, Peggy Blanks. Bolivia navigated the challenges of motherhood with determination and love, creating a stable home despite obstacles. But that evening, gunshots echoed through her Dixon Road residence. When deputies arrived, they discovered Bolivia with multiple gunshot wounds. Emergency responders fought to save her, but both she and her unborn child died that night. The man responsible wasn't a stranger. It was Najee Devon Leach, the father of her unborn baby. In the aftermath, he would cut off his dreadlocks, steal her car, and post cryptic messages online, desperate attempts to escape the consequences of his actions. The investigation revealed a disturbing pattern of domestic tension between Bolivia and Najee. Following the murder, Najee fled the scene, taking Bolivia's gold 2006 Subaru Forester. Within 24 hours, authorities tracked him down, discovering he had cut his hair to avoid recognition. He now faces multiple charges: first-degree murder, murder of an unborn child, felony discharge of a weapon into occupied property, and robbery with a dangerous weapon. The district attorney is considering pursuing the death penalty due to the heinous nature of killing a pregnant woman. This case exposes the devastating reality of domestic violence when it escalates to its deadliest form. Before we continue with Bolivia's story, I want to connect with you directly. True crime isn't just about documenting tragedies. It's about understanding them and preventing future ones. Your engagement helps spread awareness about these important issues. If you believe stories like Bolivia's deserve attention, hit that like button right now. It takes 1 second, but makes a tremendous difference in helping others discover this content. I'm curious, have you ever known someone affected by domestic violence? Or perhaps you've noticed concerning behaviors in relationships around you? Share your thoughts in the comments below. Your perspective might help someone recognize similar patterns in their own life. This community grows stronger when we interact, so drop a comment about what aspect of this case you find most disturbing or surprising. Was it the timing after the gender reveal, the premeditated nature, or something else entirely? Subscribe to join our community of critical thinkers who don't just consume true crime, we learn from it. Hit that notification bell too, so you never miss a case that might teach valuable lessons. Finally, if you know someone who should hear this story, share it. It could start a conversation that makes a difference. As we explore this case further, you'll discover the shocking social media post Najee made shortly after committing murder, offering a glimpse into his twisted justification. You'll learn about the gender reveal celebration that preceded this tragedy by mere days, adding a layer of heartbreak to an already devastating story. We'll examine how Najee attempted to create a new identity, why he chose that specific night to attack, and the crucial mistakes that led to his swift capture. Most importantly, you'll understand how this tragedy wasn't isolated, but connected to patterns that, once recognized, might save someone else's life. Bolivia Monique Williams built her identity around motherhood. Her 5 children, ranging from toddlers to teenagers, were the center of her universe. Friends described her as the kind of mother who never missed a school event despite her packed schedule. She maintained individual relationships with each child, recognizing their unique personalities and needs. Her home operated with structured routines, homework sessions at the kitchen table, weekend movie nights, and Sunday dinners where phones weren't allowed. Bolivia insisted on these traditions despite financial constraints, believing they created stability her children would remember throughout their lives. Though she rarely had time for herself, Bolivia didn't complain. She viewed motherhood as her calling rather than a burden. When her children achieved something, a good grade, a sports victory, even learning to tie their shoes, her pride was unmistakable. She documented these moments religiously, creating memory books for each child that tracked their growth and accomplishments. Peggy Blanks wasn't just Bolivia's mother. She was her confidante, backup caregiver, and emotional anchor. Their bond transcended the typical mother-daughter relationship, evolving into a partnership centered around raising Bolivia's children. 3 times weekly, Peggy would arrive with home-cooked meals and stay to help with bedtime routines. During school breaks, she would take the older children to her home, giving Bolivia much-needed rest. This grandmother's presence provided continuity and additional love in the children's lives. Bolivia consulted her mother on everything from disciplinary decisions to financial planning. Though they occasionally disagreed on parenting approaches, Peggy favoring stricter methods, while Bolivia preferred explanations over punishment, they respected each other's viewpoints. Their phone calls occurred multiple times daily, brief check-ins that maintained their connection amid busy schedules. Neighbors often commented that Bolivia had inherited Peggy's resilience, work ethic, and fierce protectiveness, qualities that defined both women across generations. Bolivia's days began at 5:30 a.m. preparing breakfast and lunches before waking her children. After school drop-offs, she'd handle household management, budgeting, appointments, and maintaining their modest home. Her organizational system involved color-coded calendars, ensuring no child's needs were overlooked. Financial pressures were constant. Bolivia stretched every dollar, becoming adept at finding sales, repurposing items, and prioritizing necessities. Despite limited resources, she created moments of joy, backyard camping adventures, homemade birthday celebrations, and dance parties in their living room. Transportation presented particular challenges. With one vehicle for 6 people, Bolivia coordinated complex schedules, sometimes making multiple trips for activities. Yet she never made her children feel their participation was a burden. Her triumphs came in small victories. All bills paid on time 1 month, a promotion that offered slightly better hours, or seeing her second oldest improve from failing math to earning a B. These moments fueled her determination through the harder days. When Bolivia discovered her pregnancy in late 2023, initial feelings were mixed. Adding a 6th child meant rearranging their already crowded home and stretching limited resources further. Yet after processing the news, she embraced this new life with characteristic determination. By her 2nd trimester, Bolivia had transformed their dining area into a nursery space and begun collecting essentials. The pregnancy progressed normally, though morning sickness persisted longer than with her previous children. At her 20-week appointment, she learned she was carrying a boy. The gender reveal gathering, held 2 weeks before her death, featured blue confetti and a small celebration with close friends and family. Photographs from that day show Bolivia radiant, her hand resting protectively on her growing belly. She had chosen the name Isaiah James for her son. Her other children displayed varying reactions. The youngest confused about a new sibling, the oldest excited to help care for a baby brother. Bolivia addressed each child's concerns with patience and reassurance. Bolivia and Najee Devon Leach met through mutual acquaintances at a community gathering in early 2023. Najee initially presented himself as charming and attentive, qualities that appealed to Bolivia, who rarely received personal attention amid her busy life as a mother of 5. Their connection developed through text messages and occasional coffee dates when Bolivia could arrange childcare. Najee expressed admiration for her dedication to her children, telling her that her maternal instincts attracted him to her. This validation resonated with Bolivia, who seldom heard praise for her parenting efforts. Within 3 months, they were officially dating. Najee integrated himself into Bolivia's life gradually, first meeting her older children, then becoming a regular weekend visitor. He offered practical help, rides for the children, assistance with groceries, and occasional financial contributions, establishing himself as a supportive presence in their household long before the pregnancy occurred. From the outside, Bolivia and Najee appeared to have a functional partnership based on mutual needs. He provided assistance she desperately required, while she offered him family inclusion and stability. However, beneath this arrangement existed complicated dynamics. Najee's involvement was inconsistent, completely engaged 1 week, then distant and unreachable the next. This pattern created an anxious attachment style in Bolivia, who began adjusting her behavior to keep him interested. Their social media presented a misleading image of romantic harmony. In reality, Conversations between them often revolved around practical matters rather than emotional connection. Their relationship lacked equal investment. Bolivia committed fully, while Najee maintained emotional distance. Friends noticed Bolivia making increasing accommodations for Najee's preferences, changing her appearance, rearranging her schedule, and limiting certain friendships. The relationship operated on his terms, with Bolivia adapting to avoid conflict and maintain the support he provided for her family. Several behaviors in Najee's pattern indicated potential problems. He exhibited extreme jealousy over Bolivia's interactions with male acquaintances, including her children's teachers. This possessiveness extended to monitoring her phone and questioning her whereabouts. Arguments between them followed a concerning cycle. Najee would create conflict, withdraw emotionally as punishment, then return with excessive affection once Bolivia apologized, even when she wasn't at fault. This manipulation kept her perpetually seeking his approval. His interactions with her children revealed additional issues. He established different standards for different children, showing favoritism that created tension in the household. When frustrated with Bolivia, he sometimes withdrew affection from her children as well. Financial control emerged gradually, with Najee helping by taking over bill payments, then using this assistance as leverage during disagreements. Bolivia's increasing isolation became evident as she declined family gatherings if Najee couldn't attend, limiting her support network when she most needed it. The gender reveal celebration on May 19, 2024, marked a pivotal moment in Bolivia and Najee's relationship. The event, held in Bolivia's backyard, featured blue confetti poppers and a small cake with "It's a Boy" written in blue icing. Photographs captured Najee's complex reaction, a smile that didn't reach his eyes, standing slightly apart from Bolivia while family members hugged her. Throughout the gathering, witnesses noted his minimal interaction with guests and frequent checks of his phone. Bolivia interpreted his reserved behavior as being overwhelmed by impending fatherhood. In reality, the event represented a turning point in Najee's perception of the relationship. The public celebration made the pregnancy undeniably real and permanent. Following the reveal, Bolivia began discussing concrete plans, adding Najee's name to the birth certificate, creating a visitation schedule, and potential child support arrangements. These practical matters contrasted sharply with Najee's apparent desire to maintain a casual, undefined relationship. June 4th began routinely for Bolivia. School drop-offs at 7:30 a.m., a prenatal appointment at 10 a.m., where she learned her baby boy was developing normally, and grocery shopping afterward. Phone records show 3 calls with Najee between 2:15 p.m. and 4:30 p.m. By 6 p.m., Bolivia was home preparing dinner. Her mother Peggy had taken the 2 youngest children for the evening, leaving Bolivia with her 3 older children. Neighbors reported seeing Najee arrive around 7:15 p.m. in his black sedan. At 7:45 p.m., Bolivia's oldest child left to stay at a friend's house for a school project. The 2 remaining children were watching television in a back bedroom. At approximately 8:20 p.m., witnesses heard raised voices from the residents. The argument escalated quickly. By 8:32 p.m., multiple gunshots echoed through the neighborhood. Najee exited the house at 8:35 p.m., briefly returned inside, then departed in Bolivia's SUV by 8:40 p.m. The first 911 call came from a neighbor at 8:33 p.m. "I just heard 4 or 5 gunshots from next door. It's the house with the blue shutters on Dixon Road." A second call followed at 8:36 p.m. from Bolivia's 12-year-old son. "Someone shot my mom. Please hurry. She's bleeding a lot." The dispatcher kept him on the line, instructing him to apply pressure to his mother's wounds. The distress in the child's voice prompted the dispatcher to upgrade the call to highest priority. First responders were dispatched immediately, with the first patrol car arriving at 8:41 p.m., followed by paramedics at 8:44 p.m. Deputies entered a scene of tremendous violence. Bolivia lay in the living room with multiple gunshot wounds to her chest and abdomen. Her 2 children, ages 12 and 10, were attempting to help their mother following the dispatcher's instructions. Blood had soaked through the living room carpet and splattered across family photos on the wall. 5 shell casings from a 9mm handgun were recovered at the scene. The front door showed no signs of forced entry, confirming Bolivia likely knew her attacker. In the kitchen, investigators found 2 untouched dinner plates and partially filled glasses, suggesting the evening began amicably. Bolivia's purse was emptied on the counter, her wallet open with cash still present, but car keys missing. A broken picture frame containing a photo from the recent gender reveal lay shattered on the floor. Footprint analysis later matched Najee's distinctive athletic shoes, creating a movement path throughout the residence and confirming his presence during the critical time frame. Paramedics worked desperately to stabilize Bolivia at the scene before transporting her to Columbus Regional Healthcare System. Despite aggressive resuscitation efforts, both Bolivia and her unborn son were pronounced dead at 9:38 p.m. The 2 children who witnessed the aftermath were taken to the sheriff's office, where child specialists conducted gentle interviews while awaiting their grandmother's arrival. Their accounts provided crucial details about arguments they overheard before the shooting. Deputies secured the crime scene and initiated an immediate bolo, be on lookout, for both Najee and Bolivia's stolen Subaru Forester. Investigators began canvassing the neighborhood, collecting doorbell camera footage that captured Najee's arrival and hasty departure. By midnight, authorities had assembled a task force dedicated to locating Najee. His known residences, workplace, and frequent locations were placed under surveillance. Border Patrol was alerted to prevent possible flight from the country. We've reached a pivotal moment in Bolivia's story, and I want to pause here to connect with you. The details of this case are difficult to process. A mother of 5, pregnant with her 6th child, murdered in her own home while her children were present. If you're finding value in understanding how this tragedy unfolded, please take a moment to hit the like button. It helps others discover this important story. I'm particularly interested in your thoughts about one aspect. How do you feel about the fact that Najee attended the gender reveal, seeming to embrace fatherhood, yet committed this act just weeks later? What might this reveal about his true intentions? Share your perspective in the comments below. For those following this case closely, what details stand out to you so far? Have you noticed something I haven't emphasized enough? Your insights often highlight aspects I might explore further in future videos. If you haven't subscribed yet, now is the perfect moment to join our community. We examine these cases not for sensationalism, but to understand human behavior and potentially prevent similar tragedies. Stay with me. In the next section, we'll follow Najee's bizarre actions immediately following the murder, including his desperate attempts to change his identity. After firing the fatal shots, Najee's movements became erratic yet purposeful. Traffic cameras captured him speeding through a red light at 8:43 p.m., just minutes after the shooting. He avoided main highways, instead taking back roads through Columbus County. Gas station footage at 9:17 p.m. showed him purchasing a prepaid phone, water, and energy drinks, paying with cash to avoid card transactions that could be traced. The attendant later reported Najee appeared calm, but kept glancing outside at the vehicle. By 10:30 p.m., cell tower data placed him approximately 45 miles from the crime scene, heading towards South Carolina. He made 3 calls from his original phone before discarding it in a roadside ditch. Investigators later recovered it using GPS data. Rather than continuing south, Najee unexpectedly doubled back toward Wilmington, NC, suggesting a predetermined destination rather than random flight. This calculated route change temporarily confused pursuing authorities. Najee's decision to take Bolivia's gold 2006 Subaru Forester rather than use his own vehicle revealed both opportunity and strategy. The theft accomplished 2 objectives. It provided transportation while making his own car untraceable. The Subaru contained practical resources. Bolivia kept emergency supplies, including a first aid kit, blankets, and non-perishable food items for her children's needs. These provisions extended Najee's ability to avoid public stops. He removed the vehicle's license plate at some point during his escape, replacing it with a temporary tag stolen from a dealership lot. This switch wasn't discovered until after his capture, explaining how he avoided immediate detection by automated plate readers. Inside the Subaru, investigators later found Bolivia's phone, which Najee had used to delete text conversations between them before abandoning it in the vehicle's center console. The SUV's GPS history revealed stops at an ATM, a discount store, and a remote wooded area where evidence was likely discarded. Najee's physical transformation began approximately 3 hours after the murder. Security footage from a 24-hour discount store showed him purchasing scissors, hair clippers, a baseball cap, and new clothes at 11:42 p.m. In the store's bathroom, he cut off his distinctive shoulder-length dreadlocks, which had been his signature style for years. He disposed of the hair in various trash cans throughout the store to prevent it being found together. The store manager discovered hair remnants during morning cleaning and contacted authorities after seeing news reports. This alteration significantly changed his appearance. Comparison of his driver's license photo with post-haircut images showed a dramatically different person. Someone who could potentially pass unrecognized by those familiar with him. Beyond the haircut, Najee changed his typical clothing style, abandoning his preference for bright colors and brand-name items in favor of nondescript attire. He also removed several recognizable gold chains and a watch that friends associated with him. At 1:17 a.m. on June 5th, approximately 5 hours after the murder, Najee made his only public statement via a Facebook post. "You posed to love me but gone thug me." This cryptic message became a crucial piece of evidence regarding his mindset. The phrase suggested perceived betrayal, that Bolivia had wronged him despite his feelings for her. This narrative of being the victim rather than the aggressor aligned with statements he later made during interrogation. The post received immediate responses from friends unaware of the night's events, with some expressing confusion and others asking if he was okay. Najee didn't reply to any comments, but investigators noted he viewed the responses as the account remained active for several hours afterward. Digital forensics revealed he drafted and deleted 3 additional messages before settling on the final wording. The discarded texts contained more explicit accusations against Bolivia and references to the unborn child, potentially indicating his struggle to justify his actions, even to himself. By dawn on June 5th, the search for Najee involved multiple agencies: Bladen County Sheriff's Office, North Carolina State Bureau of Investigation, and neighboring county departments. Authorities established a command center at the Bladen County Justice Complex, coordinating information from various sources. Highway patrol officers conducted rolling checkpoints on major roads leading out of the area. Investigators contacted Najee's family members, who claimed no knowledge of his whereabouts, but provided valuable information about potential hiding locations and associates. Digital specialists monitored his online activity, tracking login attempts across platforms. His bank accounts were flagged for suspicious transactions, though he appeared to be operating exclusively with cash. Media outlets broadcast Najee's description hourly, emphasizing his altered appearance without dreadlocks. The public responded with over 40 reported sightings, creating parallel investigation tracks that stretched limited resources but demonstrated community investment in locating him. Forensic teams processed the crime scene methodically over 18 hours, collecting bullet fragments, DNA samples, fingerprints, and electronic devices. The medical examiner recovered bullet fragments during Bolivia's autopsy, confirming they matched a 9mm caliber weapon. Analysis of Bolivia's phone revealed deleted messages that technicians restored, documenting increasingly hostile exchanges in the days before her death. Home router data showed Najee had connected to Bolivia's Wi-Fi network during specific time periods, accurately placing him at the residence. Najee's personal computer, seized from his apartment, contained search history for phrases like "how to disappear" and "countries without extradition," dating back 2 weeks before the murder. The breakthrough came through traditional police work combined with technology. A convenience store clerk in Brunswick County recognized Najee despite his changed appearance when he purchased food at 5:30 a.m. on June 5th. The clerk delayed calling authorities until after Najee left, but provided critical information: the direction he headed and confirmation he was driving Bolivia's gold Subaru. Investigators discovered Najee had contacted a former coworker requesting temporary shelter, claiming he was having relationship problems. This co-worker, becoming suspicious after seeing news reports, notified police. The most significant lead emerged when Najee attempted to withdraw money from an ATM using his debit card at 11:23 a.m. on June 5th. This electronic footprint gave authorities his exact location. Triangulation of his new prepaid phone further confirmed his position. Officers established surveillance at a motel in Wilmington where Najee had checked in under his cousin's name, planning a coordinated approach to minimize risk. At 3:15 p.m. on June 5th, tactical officers apprehended Najee as he returned to the motel room. He surrendered without resistance, appearing exhausted and resigned. Officers recovered a loaded 9mm handgun from the stolen vehicle, later confirmed as the murder weapon through ballistic testing. During transport to Bladen County, Najee remained silent, invoking his right to counsel. Prosecutors filed multiple charges: first-degree murder, murder of an unborn child, felony discharge of a weapon into occupied property, robbery with a dangerous weapon, and theft of a motor vehicle. A judge ordered Najee held without bond, citing flight risk and the severity of charges, which could potentially carry the death penalty. The district attorney formally filed 6 charges against Najee Devon Leach during his arraignment on June 7, 2024. Beyond the first-degree murder and murder of an unborn child counts, additional charges included possession of a firearm by a felon. Investigators discovered a 2019 conviction for assault, grand theft auto, felony discharge of a weapon into occupied property, tampering with evidence. Each charge carried separate penalties, with the combined potential sentence exceeding multiple life terms. The prosecution announced they would pursue each charge independently rather than accepting plea negotiations, citing the deliberate and calculated nature of the crimes and Najee's attempts to evade capture. North Carolina law establishes specific aggravating factors that qualify a murder case for capital punishment. The district attorney identified 3 applicable factors in Najee's case. 1. The murder occurred during the commission of another felony. 2. The victim was pregnant. 3. The crime demonstrated exceptional cruelty. A special hearing scheduled for August 2024 will determine whether prosecutors formally pursue execution. Defense attorneys have already filed motions challenging the constitutionality of applying the death penalty, citing Najee's previously undiagnosed mental health conditions. The decision carries significant consequences for case timeline. Capital cases typically extend 3 times longer than non-capital murder trials, delaying closure for Bolivia's family. Peggy Blanks assumed guardianship of all 5 children, moving them into her 2-bedroom home while seeking larger accommodations. The children's schools arranged counseling services, creating modified academic expectations during their adjustment period. The oldest child, who wasn't home during the shooting, experienced survivor's guilt, while the 2 who witnessed the aftermath required specialized trauma intervention. The youngest, still unaware of permanence of death, continued asking when their mother would return. Financial pressures mounted immediately. Bolivia had minimal life insurance, leaving Peggy struggling with funeral expenses while adapting to feeding and clothing 5 additional dependents. Medical bills from Bolivia's unsuccessful emergency treatment created additional debt. Regalwood residents organized a candlelight vigil, attracting over 300 participants. Local businesses established a trust fund for Bolivia's children, raising $47,000 within 2 weeks. 3 churches partnered to provide meals for the family through the summer months. Bolivia's former employer created a scholarship fund for her children's future education. Neighbors established a rotating schedule to assist Peggy with transportation and child care logistics. The case prompted Columbus County commissioners to approve increased funding for domestic violence prevention programs and emergency shelter services. A coalition of women's advocacy groups initiated a public education campaign highlighting resources available to those in troubled relationships. Relationships that pose danger often exhibit recognizable behaviors before turning violent. Watch for partners who isolate you from family and friends. Control your finances or monitor your spending. Check your phone or demand passwords. Make all decisions without your input. Express jealousy over normal interactions. Pressure you to advance the relationship quickly. Demonstrate unpredictable mood shifts. use intimidation during disagreements, damage your belongings during arguments, make threats, even if later dismissed as jokes, disrespect your boundaries repeatedly, show different behavior in public versus private. These behaviors typically intensify gradually rather than appearing all at once, making them difficult to recognize until the pattern is established. If these behaviors sound familiar in your relationship or someone you know, National Domestic Violence Hotline, 1-800-799-7233, 24/7 availability. Text HOME to 741741 to reach Crisis Text Line. The Hotline.org offers chat support for those unable to speak safely. DocuSafe app securely documents incidents of abuse. Local women's shelters provide emergency housing and legal advocacy. Family justice centers offer comprehensive services under one roof. Employee assistance programs often include confidential counseling. Religious organizations frequently have trained domestic violence counselors. Legal aid offices provide free representation for protection orders. 211 connects callers to local social services. Remember, creating a safety plan before leaving is essential, as departure is often the most dangerous time. Bolivia Williams remains more than a statistic or cautionary tale. Her dedication to motherhood, despite overwhelming odds, represents the strength found in millions of women navigating similar circumstances. Her story has already prompted policy changes in Columbus County and expanded resources for vulnerable families. The trust fund established for her children ensures her maternal protection extends beyond her lifetime. Local schools have implemented a curriculum addressing healthy relationships in her memory. Perhaps most importantly, several women in the community have sought help after learning about Bolivia's story, creating a ripple effect of prevention that honors her life by potentially saving others. Her legacy continues through her 5 children, who carry her resilience forward. Your engagement with difficult stories like Bolivia's makes a tangible difference. By subscribing to this channel, you support content that examines these issues with depth and respect rather than sensationalism. Share this video with someone who might benefit from understanding these dynamics, whether they're in a concerning relationship or know someone who is. I'm curious, what aspect of this case impacted you most strongly? Leave your thoughts in the comments below. The notification bell ensures you receive updates on case developments and related content. Together, we're building a community that doesn't just consume true crime, but uses these stories to create positive change.
Happy birthday, bro. We love you, miss you. Blow the candle out, Natalie. Blow the candle. Blow it. It's down, man. Get it below. Oh, go!
Wow!
Trying to forgive him. Maybe one day. Still don't know if it's gonna happen, but